All right, this is going to be something that you will remember, I think. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Ron, and I work in developer relations at Google. I spend most of my time on Launchpad. Launchpad is Google Developers' global startup program. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the things that we've learned working with startups globally. Mainly common challenges related to the never-ending question of what should we build next. I will also share with you some best practices that we know that are working for startups and how you can leverage Firebase to use them. Let's take a quick look at Launchpad. So today we operate in more than 30 countries. We worked in 2015, we worked with 6,000 startups worldwide, and we provided more than 50,000 hours of one-on-one mentorship. Yeah. Now, through those 50,000 hours of mentorship, we've learned what drives startup success and what doesn't, what works and what doesn't work. Now, we know that startups are not the same. Okay, you can't say that all startups are the same, but there are some common challenges and problems that every startup needs to solve. First, there is the technical challenge. Can we build it? Next, there is the product challenge. All right, we can build it. Do people need it? Will they use it? Next, there is the market challenge. All right, we've built it. There are some people who need it. They want to use it. Can we reach them? It's not that trivial. First challenge is the scale challenge. When you think about it, startup scales in almost any aspects, from users to number of employees to operations. How do you do that and still maintain your insanity? And last but not least, the financial challenge. How do you make that profitable? How do you make money out of your app or your business? Today, I'm going to focus mainly on the product challenge, or the way I like to call it, how to build products that people need, that people actually use. Now, usually, when I talk about the product challenge, people automatically think that it's related only to early-stage startups, to teams that didn't release the product yet, that are seeking product market fit. Those three guys with a Mac and a hoodie walking down University Avenue in Palo Alto. But the truth is that product challenge is a never-ending challenge. And you live it every single day in this amazing journey of building successful products that drives successful businesses. It doesn't matter if you have 0 users, 10K users, or 10 million users. You keep asking yourself, what should I build now? And I'd like to start and sharing a story with you. It's a story about a good friend of mine. She was supposed to be here, but she couldn't make it. I'd like to introduce you to Ronnie. Now, Ronnie is awesome. She's super smart. She writes Android code, she writes iOS code, and she has this lovely dog named Nala. And Nala loves Android. She also likes to run outside, to go on long walks, hang out in the park, and Nala is a very playful dog and very super friendly dog. She likes to play with other dogs as well. So one day, Ronnie thought, hey, why don't I build these hyper-local social networks for dogs and their owners? And you know what? Being this super awesome girl, that's exactly what she did. She sat down over a weekend and came up with this app that basically lets you see other dog owners walking out their dogs around you. So you can know when to walk the dog and potentially make new friends for you and your pet. And she released this, what you might call MVP, and suddenly, boom, she tweets about it. Some bloggers picks that up, and suddenly Ronnie has 20,000 installs, 5,000 daily active users, people who use her product, use this MVP every single day. She lends herself $200,000 in seed money, quits her job, and focuses on adding features. In other words, building her product. Now, Ronnie is smart. I've said that, and I can't say that too many times. And she knows everything about Lean Startup. And she knows she needs to validate things. She knows she needs to do user research. And that's exactly the very first thing that she is doing. She builds this amazing landing page, again, featuring Nala, telling people about the product that she's about to release and allowing them to leave their email address if they're interested to hear more about it or join the private beta. And of course, she checks conversion rate. Then she sends out some push notifications to her loyal users, asking them, hey, would you like to get vet recommendations based on user ratings? Would you like to see that or that in the app? And users can say yes or no, and of course, she checks conversion rates. Lastly, just to be extra sure, she went out and she speaks with her users, like in the real world, speaking with them. She buys them coffee, she shows them her mock-ups, and she asks them 3 questions. Would you use it? Would you pay for it? And how much will you pay for it? Based on her user research, she builds what she thinks is a great product. She publishes it on App Store and Google Play. She's ready to take off, but unfortunately, she crashes. She didn't get the traction that she wants. Now let's see, and let's take a look at what went wrong here. The very first thing Ronnie did was using a landing page. She used it in order to figure out if people want such an app, if people need it. But in fact, landing page can answer only one single question. Are people interested enough to give me their email address? It doesn't say anything about do people need it and will people use it. The second thing that Ronnie did is listening to her users, either in person or via push notifications. But the very first rule in user research is never listen to users. I know it sounds funny, but bear with me for a moment. Never listen to your users. Instead, watch and observe their behavior. The reason is that we, human beings, we're very bad at predicting our own behavior. There's almost zero correlation between what we say we will do and what we actually do. Psychologists know that, user researchers know that, developers don't. So, I'm here to help. Let's see what Ronnie could have done differently. I'd like to introduce you to a methodology proved to be working. Build, experiment, optimize. Now, being an engineer, I feel very comfortable with the build stuff. To me, writing code is not a job, it's a hobby. It's something that I like to do, and that's my sweet spot. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one in the room. So let's move to experiment. What is a good experiment? What do I want? What am I looking for in my experiments? A good experiment is fast. I want to get results quickly. I don't want to wait forever to figure out what my next move is. A good experiment is efficient. I'd like to be able to run experiments without investing a lot of manpower. I'd like to run experiments. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a small team or a big team. Ideally, one person will be able to run multiple and manage multiple experiments simultaneously. And last but not least, good experiments provide me with real data. Watch your users. Remember, observe their behavior. We act upon real data and not gut feeling. I need a system that will allow me to track data, analyze it, and act upon it all in one place. Make data-driven decisions. Now, unfortunately, if you wanted to run experiments, you'd have to use multiple products, from analytics to A/B systems to push analytics to whatnot. That means that you need to integrate multiple SDKs into your apps, Android and iOS. That means that you need to write some code in your server side. That means that you need to face some data integration issue and deal with data discrepancies between systems. It means that you don't have one single place with all the data. Well, that was the situation until we announced Firebase today. So if you've been to the keynote today, you've probably heard about Firebase. If you haven't been to the keynote, I suggest you get up, go outside, find a time travel machine, go back in time to watch the keynote, because the keynote was awesome. And for the keynote, there's a t-shirt here. All right. You know what? Can I get a hell yeah for the keynote? Yeah! All right, let's do A/B testing. This side, can I get a hell yeah? Yeah! What about that side? Yeah! T-shirt goes there. What? All right. Firebase. Firebase is a suite of integrated products designed to help you build your app, grow your user base, and earn money. It helps developers build better apps and grow successful businesses. And Firebase is cross-platform because we know and we understand that there is more than one platform out there. So Firebase has all these great features that you can see here. And obviously, I will not go over all of them. I will focus mainly on what makes Firebase such a great experimental framework, Firebase Analytics and Remote Config. So let's start with Firebase Analytics. Firebase Analytics is the heart of the Firebase platform. First, it's free and unlimited. Now you can learn and understand everything that your users are doing without compromising. 100% free. That means no hits limits, no quotas, no sampling, 100% pure data for free. It also has automatic event reporting, which means that as soon as you integrate Firebase Analytics into your product, without adding any lines of code, we automatically track some key events like app opens, etc., and in-app purchases and other stuff. And you get out of the box key metrics that are important to you. Things like monthly active users, average revenue per user, average revenue per paying user, and some more. Firebase Analytics is so powerful because it is tightly integrated with Firebase and with Google. Now you can take the data, make some insights, and immediately turn those insights into action items. And we'll see how you do that later. And last, it's your data. All the data that we track and collect in Firebase Analytics is your data. With very few clicks, you can export all your data to BigQuery, connect it to whatever tables that you have, and run anything from queries to machine learning to prediction APIs. It's your data. Now let's take a look what it takes to add Firebase Analytics into your product. You start at the Firebase console. And you get this lovely screen when you can add either Android app, iOS app, or web app. You go, small configuration phase, you get a config file that you download and add to your project. And then it is a single line of code in iOS, grabbing Firebase from CocoaPods, and a single line of change in your build Gradle file. That's it. You do that, you log into Firebase console, and you immediately get the analytic dashboard right out of the box. Here you can see so many things from active users, 1 day, 1, 7, 30 days, to retention cohort, to ARPUs, and demographics, and so much more. I don't have time to go through all of it. I will focus on the things that matter to us. All right. Remember our goal? We want to watch and observe our users' behavior. So let's take a closer look at how Firebase Analytics helps us do that. And like many other analytics systems, Firebase Analytics is an event-centric system. It means that it tracks and collects event. And logging event is super, super easy. First, you grab a reference to a Firebase Analytics object and initialize it. Then, you can use the log event API. Here is a short example how I would use it when a user clicks on some item in my app to view more details about it. As you can see, the API is pretty straightforward. You build a bundle and you call log event with that bundle. Now, deciding what to log and when can sometimes be a bit tricky. And that's why we came up with some suggested schemas, like you see here. Item ID, item name, and content type. But of course, you can use whatever schemas if you want, just in case you don't like ours. Once you do that, you can go back to the console, and you immediately see all the events, and you can drill down an event to see more information about it. Now, thing is that we want to track users' flow. We don't want to track single interaction. We want to track a whole interaction with what the user is doing, and that's where funnels come to help. Funnels come to help. Great. So, a funnel is a series of events that are important to us, that we're interested in. As soon as you define a funnel, let's say user browse through some items, add an item to a cart, and purchase it. That's a series of events that we're interested in. As soon as we define this funnel, Firebase Analytics will track users that go through this journey and will tell us at any given stage what's the conversion rate, how many users moved from one stage to another, how many added an item to the cart, how many actually made the purchase. It's a great tool to check where you're losing users and where you need to improve. Now, I've said a minute ago that Firebase Analytics is an event-centric system, and that's true. But Firebase Analytics is also a user-centric system. And that's what makes it so unique, being both event-centric and user-centric. We all know that users are not the same, okay? And different users behave differently. So in order to really understand our users and what they're doing, we need to be able to define different groups of users. We call those groups audiences. And we need to break down every single report based on those groups or audiences. Everything from funnels to event to ARPUs to active users to retention, everything. And Firebase Analytics does all that. Now, when you think of an audience, you immediately think of males versus females, different age groups, maybe some geolocation, language, or some other common attributes like device, OS type, OS version, app version, etc. Firebase Analytics obviously has all that, but it also lets you define your own user properties, like, I don't know, users that shared an item at least once, or users that reached level 5 in my game. Now, remember what we need from our experiment framework? Firebase Analytics takes care of providing us with real data and data that we can act upon. But we still need to be able to make quick and fast changes in our apps and the way our app behaves. And this is exactly why we've built Remote Config. As a matter of fact, Remote Config started as an internal system we used at Google. First, we used it in the framework, GMS, and then we opened it to internal Google apps like Gmail, Play, and it saved us so many times, and it proved to be so valuable to us that we said, all right, maybe other developers can benefit it, and we're opening it today on Android and iOS. Remote Config lets you store key and value pairs in the server and change them remotely. You can change them to all users or a specific demographic like language, device, app version, OS version, etc. You can also do stage rollouts like change values to 10% of the users in North America. And since everything is so integrated with analytics, you can target different audiences with Remote Config. For example, let's say that I'm building this great game, and I'm not sure how hard I need to make this game. So I set up with Remote Config the game difficulty level. And I can change it remotely. But I can do even more. All right? Let's say I can make the game harder for people who reached level 5 in less than 2 days. And I can make the game easier for people who are struggling with level 1 for more than 2 hours, so they won't get frustrated. You know what? Let's see how I would do that. First, I initialize remote config and set some default values to it. So just in case I don't have any network or something, I do have the default values. Then I call fetch and activate fetch to grab the new values from the server. And then anywhere in my app, I can use these values in my code simply by calling get int, get long, get string, etc. As simple as that. Pretty straightforward. Now, don't worry about calling multiple fetches and stuff. We have under the hood, we have caching mechanism, and we know how to turn, in case the cache is valid, to make fetch and no op. And there is a good remote config talk, I think, tomorrow. All right, back to our game plan. So with Firebase Analytics and remote config, I can run experiments. And I can change my game difficulty level pretty easily. But I still don't know what is the right difficulty level that I should stick with. In other words, what am I trying to optimize here? Now, everything that you optimize, everything that you change, every feature that you add, every little thing in your app needs to show significant improvement in one out of the 3. Conversion from free to paid, actual users that are paying for your app, are paying for your service. Time spent in app, increase the time that users are using your product. And retention, make your users use your product or app more often. So I'd like to show you how App in the Air use this framework, a very similar framework, and Firebase to run those experiments, learn, and optimize their product and their business. So App in the Air is basically a personal travel assistant that gives you consistency and all the resources and the information that you need about your flight and travel, regardless of what airline you're using and where you fly. They also released an SDK recently, so other developers can plug into it. What I like about App in the Air, it provides some additional features that can actually save you time and money, like airport trips and the queue for security in the airport. I really like that. Let's see how App in the Air used Firebase to validate things that they're doing. First thing that they did, they defined a funnel that represents the main goal of the app, or their main KPI, if you wish, which is user opens the app, adds a flight, and makes a purchase. That's the core metric of the business. They defined a funnel, and this is what they got. You can see that 29% of the users added a flight, and 7.2% of those users actually made a purchase. But that is across all users. So they started filtering this funnel based on different demographics and other parameters. Actually, they used about 18 different properties and attributes to filter and take a deeper look at what their users are doing. And here are some interesting things that they've learned. Users between age 18 and 24 have 2 times add flight conversion. They add more flights. And they have 1.5 times purchase conversion. They looked at other user properties and also found out that users that are running Marshmallow also convert better. Almost 2 times add flight and 1.4 times make a purchase. So just by looking at Firebase Analytics with audiences, breaking out what users are doing, they immediately got some very interesting and crucial action items. First, we need to investigate why we have this difference in performance. Second, let's check issues on bad OS versions. Maybe users with KitKat, the app doesn't crash on KitKat, but maybe there's a problem there. Maybe we're slow, maybe we're laggy, maybe there's a glitch in the UI, I don't know. But it's worth it makes sense to experiment that. And it also allows them to know which users to engage that are more likely to make a purchase. So one of the things that they decided to check was the onboarding process of the app. So they used remote config, as you can see here, to define a quick experiment. 50% of the users will get a welcome screen explaining what the app is doing, and they will get 1 free credit to get Flight Alert, to actually test the service before they buy. And the other 50% of the users will not get a welcome screen, they will not get the free credit for Flight Alerts. And they compared the conversion rate based on those groups. And when they compared, this is what they saw. So add flight conversion is pretty similar. Okay? The welcome screen, having a welcome screen and a free credit, or not having a welcome screen, a free credit, didn't change the conversion for add flights. But one group actually purchased 2 times more than the other group. Now here's a question for you guys and girls. Which group purchased more? The group that got a welcome screen. Nice welcome screen. Hello, welcome to Up in the Air. This is what we do. Here's a free credit you can try before you buy. Or the group that installed the app, opened it, and they were immediately in the screen. They needed to figure out what to do. Who thinks it's the group with the welcome screen? Who thinks it's the group with the no welcome screen? Who doesn't think? All right, yeah, it doesn't, it doesn't add up. All right, good. That's exactly why you need to make data-driven decision and not gut feeling. Apparently, having a welcome screen and offering a free credit made people buy less. So the very first call to action that Up in the Air did was going back to remote config and change that group that doesn't get a welcome screen from 50% to 100%. And the result? 2 times purchase across both iOS and Android. Actually, if you studied, Tim, who actually implemented all of that, is sitting here. Another thing that they did, which is very interesting. So Up in the Air, they run their application server on App Engine. And obviously in their server, in their backend, they have lots of data about the users, like preferences and history of purchases, and tons of other stuff. But now with Firebase Analytics also stores data about users' behavior. So Up in the Air linked the two. And they started running some secret sauce of prediction APIs and some crazy queries. And they found out something very, very interesting. They found out that there is a group of users that you can define based on multiple parameters, which is more likely, 3 times more likely to fly business. Okay? Immediately as the user opens the app, you can predict that this user may fly business. Okay? That means that those users, they value convenience over price. So immediately, as soon as a user in that group opens the app for the first time, before they do anything, Up in the Air can customize the suggestions and the ads that those users sees, because they know that maybe they like luxury hotels, or better cars, or better flights. And this is what I call a win-win-win. Actually, the result from this thing was a significant increase, not only in the conversion rate of how many people actually purchased, but also in the average revenue per paying users, because they purchased more expensive items. Again, win-win-win, just by looking at data and make data-driven decisions. So, back to Ronnie. She starts using Firebase to validate her ideas, and now she's super, super happy. This is a picture from today. actually, that she sent me. She's super, super happy with new friends for her and for her dog, Nala. So, for more information about Firebase Analytics and remote config and how you can start using it today to validate your ideas, to run experiments, and to optimize everything in your app, please go to our docs, our support, and their office hours. Today we just ran out of them, but there are office hours tomorrow and on Friday. Look for the people with the yellow shirts that are hanging around here. They will be more than happy to help you integrate Firebase today. Thank you, everybody.